Ladies and gentlemen, there are men who, though their years advance, remain trapped in the prison of boyhood. They shun responsibility, seek constant pleasure, and resist the burdens that forge true character. We do not condemn them out of malice, Marcus Aurelius said, but we must understand the roots of their condition and recognize that refusal to grow up is not freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, but a kind of slavery. A man-child seeks comfort and avoids responsibility, mistaking indulgence for freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, he lives under the illusion that doing only what form of liberation. Yet what he calls freedom is, in truth, Marcus Aurelius, to his own whims and weaknesses, he resists discipline and duty because he sees them as chains placed upon him by others. Aurelius said, he imagines that by casting off these burdens, he can live purely for himself, untouched by obligation. In his mind, Marcus Aurelius said, to grow up is to submit to a dreary existence of feast, the life he believes to be less vibrant, less fulfilling. Marcus Aurelius said, what he fails to see is that true freedom does not absue of responsibility, but from the mastery of the self. The man-child confuses the fleeting pleasures of the moment with the deeper, lasting fulfillment that comes from facing and overcoming hardship. He drifts from one distraction to another, chasing an entitlement, comfort. Marcus Aurelius said, validation, anything that shields him from discomfort or difficulty, but indulgent, checked, and ungoverned, becomes a tyrant. Marcus Aurelius said, each small surrender to ease makes him weaker, least capable of enduring life's inevitable trials. Marcus Aurelius said, in running from the demands of maturity, he betrayed his fears, his appetites, and his need for external approval. Marcus Aurelius said, rather than developing inner strength, he builds a fortress of temporary pleasures around himself. Marcus Aurelius said, yet this fortress offers no real protection. When adverse it always does. He finds himself ill-equipped. Marcus Aurelius said, disoriented and overwhelmed, because he has no endurance, patience, or courage. Aurelius said, the simplest challenge can seem unbearable. Simply choose long-term values over short-term desires. Marcus Aurelius said, he is easily led astray, chasing whatever provocation, even at great cost to his character and his future. Marcus the man-child's avoidance of responsibility does not just harm himself. Marcus Aurelius said, those around him are forced to bear the weight he refused to carry. Friends, family, Marcus Aurelius said, and partners may initially try to excuse or compensate for his lack of maturity, but over time, his unreliability erodes trust and respect. He becomes disappointment. Marcus Aurelius said, a man whose potential remains trapped under layers of time. In seeking to be free from the burdens of life, Aurelius said, he becomes a burden himself. Real freedom demands strength, the strength to govern one's impulses. Aurelius said, to accept what is hard but necessary, and to live in accordance with reason rather than desire. Without this, Marcus Aurelius said, what seems like a life of freedom quickly turns quiet degradation. Comfort without purpose is not peace. Marcus Aurelius, it is stagnant. Pleasure without restraint is not joy, it is decay. Responsibility, though often heavy, is the path to dignity and self-respect. The man-child, blind to this truth, Marcus Aurelius said, chooses the easy road and wonders why his heart feels restless, until he embraces the discipline he fears. Marcus Aurelius said, he remains a captive, a boy in a man's body, to a life that demands much more than he is willing to give. True maturity requires the acceptance of duty, hardship, and the cultivation of virtue. It is not enough to simply grow older in years, for the passage of time alone does not bestow wisdom or strength. Marcus Aurelius said, maturity comes from an internal shift. A this meaning is not found in comfort or ease, but in the fulfillment of one's responsibilities. Marcus Aurelius said, duty is not a burden to be avoided, but a call to contribute to something greater than oneself. Mature force, it is the force that drives one to care for others, to shore up when it's hard. Marcus Aurelius said, and to honor commitments even when doing so requires. A person rejects this duty, who sees it as an imposition, will find themselves adrift in a life that lacks direction or purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, "The foundation of maturity is rooted in an underchanges have consequences, and that there is a moral responsibility to others." To family, Marcus Aurelius said, to community, and to society at large. Hardship is another necessary component of maturity. A person who has never faced difficulty may seem untrahud by life's trials, but this is not strength. It is fragility. True maturity is forged in the fire of adversity. Marcus Aurelius said, when a person encounters suffering or failure, they have a choice. They can surrender to despair or rise to the challenge. Growth does not come without discomfort, Marcus Aurelius said, and to face life's inevitable hardships with grace and resilience is a testament to one's maturity. Hardship teaches patience, Marcus Aurelius, fortitude and self-control, virtues that would remain dormant without struggle. Marcus Aurelius said, those who shy away from hardship in the name of the opportunity to develop these essential qualities. Marcus Aurelius said, it is through the cultivation of virtue, the mature, it is not a passive quality, but a practice. Marcus Aurelius said, it is an ongoing commitment to doing what is right, even when it is not easy or popular. Marcus Aurelius said, virtue is about making decisions grounded in integrity, with kindness and justice, and pursuing wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, regardless of the circumstances, a person who is vied by fleeting emotions or external pressures. Marcus Aurelius said, they act according to their principles, even when it requires effort or sacrifice. Marcus Aurelius said, virtue requires discipline. The discipline to choose the right path over the easy one. Marcus Aurelius said, to delay gratification in favor of long-term fulfillment, and to remain steadfast in the face of temptation or adversity. Marcus Aurelius said, it is the thread that holds one's character to thee, but it remains a hollow concept. Acceptance of duty, Marcus Aurelius said, and the ability to endure hardship, and the virtue, are the pillars that support a truly mature individual. Marcus Aurelius said, they form the backbone of a person's character, guiding their decisions and actions. Aurelius said, shaping their relationships and their impact on the world. To mature is to embrace these principles. Marcus Aurelius said, to recognize that life is not a series of pleasurable theories, but a series of opportunities to grow, to contribute, and to become the best version of oneself. Only by accept the weight of duty, facing hardship with resolve. Marcus Aurelius said, and cultivating virtue, can one hope to trans the self and reach the highest potential of humanity. Marcus Aurelius said, shielding oneself from struggle leads to weakness. In the modern world, it has become all too easy to avoid hardship. Marcus Aurelius said, with the conveniences of technology, comfort, many can go through life without ever facing true adversity. Marcus Aurelius said, the temptation to seek ease, to bypass discomfort, and yet it is through struggle that character is built. Marcus Aurelius and resilience is forged when one takes every opportunity to themselves from difficulty. Marcus of they are unknowingly undermining their own strength. Marcus Aurelius said, leaving themselves vulnerable to the inevitable challenges that life will throw their way. Marcus Aurelius said, the avoidance of struggle may seem like protection in the moment, but it is in fact a form of self-sabotage, weakening both the mind and spirit. Struggle, whether physical or mental, Marcus Aurelius said, is the crucible in which a person's true potential. It is through facing adversity that one learns perseverance. Marcus Aurelius said, patience and adaptability. When we encounter difficulties, we are forced to make decisions. Marcus Aurelius said, to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, to grow. Each challenge we overcome adds a layer of strength. Marcus Aurelius said, each hardship we endure teaches us how to cope, and we helps us refine our character. Marcus Aurelius said, if we shield ourselves from these experiences, we'd very opportunities that lead to personal growth. Instead of becoming stronger, we become weaker. Marcus Aurelius said, as we fail to build the mental and emotional nucleus to navigate life's ups and downs, avoiding struggle also fosters dependency. Marcus Aurelius said, a person who constantly seeks to avoid discomfort, turn to for help, or seek external solutions to problems that could be solved through their own effort. Marcus may depend on others for emotional support you, always stay distance you. Marcus Aurelius said, or even physical care when they should be developing mechanisms. Over time, this reliance becomes ingrained, Marcus Aurelius said, and the person finds themselves unable to function apparently, rather than building self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius said, they build a life based on the constant need for and handle challenges that they could have faced themselves. Marcus Aurelius said, dependency once formed is not easy to break. It creates of passivity and helplessness. Marcus Aurelius said, where the individual believes they are incapable of difficulties on their own. Furthermore, shielding oneself from struggle also weakens one's sense of purpose and accomplishment. Marcus Aurelius said there is a profound satisfaction that comes of challenges. A sense of pride in having faced something difficult and emerged on the other side stronger. Marcus Aurelius struggle when we absolve ourselves of this silent life. Marcus Aurelius said, when live out the experience of pushing through hardship becomes dull and unfulfilling. Marcus Aurelius said, there is little joy to be found in a life from struggle because there is little to strive for. Without challenge, Marcus Aurelius said, there is no progress, no growth, no feeling of having truly earned what we achieve. Marcus Aurelius said, by choosing to face struggle rather than avoid it, we raid it. We choose independence over dependency. Aurelius said, resilience over fragility. Struggle teaches us how to handle the inevitable blows that life deals us. Marcus Aurelius said, it forces us to stretch our limits, to think creatively, and to become better versions of ourselves. In the face of hardship, Marcus Aurelius said, we find our true potential. Shielding oneself from the hand may protect us temporarily. Marcus Aurelius said, but it ensures that we will never fully realize the ability to stand on our own. Growth demands the mastery of desires and resilience against misfortune. Marcus Aurelius said, at the core of human development lies the abilities and desires. Desire is not inherently bad, Marcus Aurelius said. It is a natural part of being human. However, the current yearning for more, for immediate gratification, Marcus Aurelius said, or for things that ultimately do not contribute to fulfillment, can become a destructive force. Marcus Aurelius said, growth is not found in the indulgence of every craving, but in the ability to rise above them. Marcus Aurelius said, to recognize when desires are steering us away from our higher purpose. To master one's desires is to cultivate self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, to resist the temptations cloud judgment and weaken character is the ability to delay gratification. Marcus Aurelius said, to prioritize long-term goals over short-term pursuits who can master their desires is not enslaved by them. They are free to pursue what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius said, the mastery of desires is not about suppressing every impulse or living in complete denial of one's wants. Marcus Aurelius said, but about discerning which desires are worth pursuing. It requires the wisdom to recognize that not all desires are equal. Marcus Aurelius said, and some are inherently harmful if followed blindly, whether it is for wealth, recognition, or fleeting pleasure. Unchecked ambitions often lead to a hollow existence. Marcus Aurelius said, leaving the individual empty despite having achieved what they thought they wanted. Marcus Aurelius said, true growth comes when a person learns to prioritize their goals, such as personal development, helping others. Marcus Aurelius said, or creating something meaningful that endures, and the individual to make choices that align with their deeper values. Marcus said, rather than succumbing to the whims of fleeting impulses. Marcus Aurelius said, equally important is the cultivation of real fortune. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable, and no one is immune to hardship, whether it is loss, failure, rejection, or disappointment. Marcus Aurelius said, "Misfortune is an unavoidable part of the human experience. However, growth does not come from avoiding misfortune," Marcus Aurelius said, "but from the ability to endure it with grace, to learn from it, and to rise stronger in its wake." Marcus Aurelius said, "Resilience is the mental and emotional strength to continue forward despite setbacks." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not the absence of pain, but the ability to recover from it." Marcus Aurelius said, "The resilient person does not see hardship but as a temporary challenge to be overcome." Marcus Aurelius said, "They understand that failure is not the end, but simply part of the process of growth." Marcus Aurelius said, "Resilience demands the development of a strong inner foundation." Marcus Aurelius said, "The ability to withstand emotional turmoil and cause goals even when the path becomes difficult." Marcus Aurelius said, "The person who is resilient does not crumble with adversity. They see each challenge as an opportunity to learn." Marcus adapt and strengthen themselves. They become more creative and more determined. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is through adversity that character is forged, and without it, there can be no true growth." Resilience allows a person to bounce back, to persevere in the face of obstacles, and to emerge from life's storms stronger and wiser than before. In sum, Marcus Aurelius said, "Growth requires not only the mastery of desires, but the resilience to face misfortune head-on." Marcus Aurelius, "It is the ability to control what is within our power, our desires, our actions," Marcus Aurelius said, "and our responses to adversity, that allows us to evolve the best version of ourselves. Without these qualities, growth is stunted," Marcus Aurelius said, "and life becomes a series of reactive decisions toward personal development and fulfillment." Marcus Aurelius said, "Obstacles should be viewed as opportunities to avoid. In life, challenges are inevitable." Marcus Aurelius said, "Whether they come in the form of personal struggles or unforeseen circumstances, obstacles are part of the human experience." Marcus Aurelius said, "The way in which we perceive and respond to these determines the course of our growth." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is all too easy to view obstacles as something negligent in the way of progress and happiness. However, Marcus Aurelius, this perspective only serves to hinder development and create unnecessary suffering." As Aurelius said, "When we learn to see obstacles as opportunities rather than burdens, we unlock the potential for growth, resilience, and strength." Marcus Aurelius said, "Every obstacle presents a lesson, an opportunity to expand our limits. In moments of struggle, we are forced to confront our weaknesses, question our assumptions," Marcus Aurelius said, "and find creative solutions to problems that might seem insurmountable at first. Far from being roadblocks," Marcus Aurelius said, "obstacles serve as stepping stones on the path to improve advancement. They push us to adapt, to innovate, and to stretch beyond our comfort zones. Without these challenges," Marcus Aurelius said, "we would never experience the sense of accomplishment that's from overcoming difficulty." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is through adversity that we build the quality of our character: patience, determination, resourcefulness, and courage." Marcus Aurelius said, "Rather than avoiding obstacles, we should embrace them with that they are an essential part of the journey." Marcus Aurelius said, "The greatest athletes, the most successful accomplished individuals all share one common trait." Marcus Aurelius, "They have learned to face obstacles head-on. They do not shy away from challenges," Marcus Aurelius said, "but instead seek them out as opportunities to improve." When we confront obstacles with this mindset, Marcus Aurelius said, we begin to see them not as burdens, but as tools into stronger, more capable individuals. In fact, Marcus Aurelius said, "The very nature of strength itself is built through overcoming adversity. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, so too does the human spirit grow stronger through always face challenges." Marcus said, every obstacle we face acts as a kind of resistance that forces us to grow. It tests our mental and emotional capacity. Marcus Aurelius said, pushing us to become more resilient, more adaptable, and more resourceful, the more we encounter and successfully navigate obstacles. Marcus Aurelius said, the more we develop the inner strength required to face future challenges with greater confidence and composure. Moreover, Marcus Aurelius said, obstacles offer a unique opportunity to reevaluate goals and priorities. When confronted with difficulties, Marcus Aurelius said, we are often forced to reconsider our approach, rethink, and sometimes even shift our direction. Marcus Aurelius said, this process of reflection and adaptation can lead in discoveries that would have been impossible without the obstacle itself. Marcus Aurelius said, in this way, challenges not only reveal our weak's new pathways to success and fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius said, by changing the way we view obstacles, not to be feared or avoided, Marcus Aurelius said, but as an opportunity to grow and develop, we can transform the way we approach life's difficulties. Marcus Aurelius said, rather than seeing them as setbacks, we be proponents of the journey that shape us into stronger, wiser, Marcus Aurelius said, and more capable individuals. With this perspective on opportunity to build strength, both in body and mind, Marcus Aurelius said, and to move ever closer to becoming the beast of ourselves. Maturity is not a matter of age, Marcus Aurelius said, but of disciplined thought and steadfast action. While it is commonly believed that as one grows older, Marcus said, they automatically become more mature, this assumption overlooks the deeper. Marcus Aurelius said, more fundamental qualities that constitute true maturity. Age alone does not guarantee wisdom, responsibility, or emotional growth. Marcus Aurelius said, in fact, some people may accumulate years without the yield challenges that lead to maturity. Maturity, instead, Marcus Aurelius said, is rooted in the ability to think with clarity, to purpose, and to consistently choose responsibility over indulgence. Marcus Aurelius said, it is the result of a deliberate cultivation of self-discipline and an unwavering commitment to live with integrity. True maturity is first and foremost a produce of silent thought. Marcus Aurelius said, it involves the ability to reflect critically on one's own behavior, values, and assumptions. Marcus Aurelius said, a mature person does not simply react to the world, but takes the time to think deeply about their responses and the consequences of their actions. This introspective process is essential for growth. Marcus Aurelius said, as it allows one to align their actions with rather than be swayed by impulsive emotions or external pressures. Aurelius said, maturity requires the capacity for self-awareness, the ability to look inward and recognize when one's thoughts or behavior are not serving their highest good. Marcus Aurelius said, it demands a willingness to question old patterns and to reach new perspectives when necessary. Marcus Aurelius said, this disciplined thought is not about being overly oneself, about fostering an open and honest dialogue with one's own mind. Marcus Aurelius said, seeking constant improvement and refinement alongside maturity is also a matter of steadfast action. Marcus Aurelius said, it is one thing to think clearly and rational about what's right. It is another to consistently act upon those insights. Maturity manifests not only in what we think, so what we do. Marcus Aurelius said, it requires the courage and determination to court when doing so is difficult or uncomfortable. As Aurelius said, steadfast action means making choices that align when those choices conflict with short-term desires. Marcus Aurelius said, it is about choosing responsibility over convenience, what needs to be done, rather than what is easy or pleasurable. Marcus Aurelius said, a mature person understands that true success are not in fleeting pleasures, but in the daily, times challenging, some practice of living according to one's principles. Aurelius said, the relationship between thought and action is hugely immaturity. Disciplined thought without action becomes stagnant. Marcus Aurelius said, "A mere intellectual exercise that produces little change in one's life." On the other hand, Marcus Aurelius said, "Action without thoughtful consideration can lead directly to mistakes and regrets." Marcus Aurelius said, "Maturity involves the integration of both, the ability to think clearly and make well-informed decisions, followed by the courage to act on those decisions with constancy." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is in the intersection of these two elements, thought and action, that maturity is fully realized." Another essential component of maturity is emotional regulation. Marcus Aurelius said, "A mature individual is not controlled by their moods, is able to respond to them in a measured and thoughtful manner. They understand that emotions, while powerful, non-always guides to action, rather than being swayed by anger, fear, or frustration. They practice the discipline of emotional intelligence." Marcus Aurelius said, "Acknowledging their feelings without allowing them to dictate their behavior." Marcus Aurelius said, "This emotional mastery is vital for maintaining relationships, managing stress." Marcus Aurelius said, "And making sound decisions in the face of adversity." Maturity is deeply connected to accountability. Marcus Aurelius said, "A mature person takes full responsibility for their choices, whether good or bad, are their own." Marcus Aurelius, "They do not blame others for their failures, nor seek the consequences of their decisions. Instead," Marcus Aurelius said, "they face the outcomes with grace, learn from their mistakes, and use lessons to improve moving forward." Marcus Aurelius said, "This level of accountability requires humility, the ability to admit me is wrong, and to make amends where necessary." Marcus Aurelius said, "It also involves the strength to uphold commitments, make it difficult." In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius said, "Maturity is not a passive state achieved by the mere time. It is an active process shaped by disciplined thought, intentional action, emotional regulation, and personal accountability." Marquis, a person who embodies maturity demonstrates a steady commitment to self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius said, "Aligning their actions with their deepest values and choosing growth over comfort." While age may provide the opportunity for maturity, Marcus Aurelius said, "It is the conscious effort to develop these qualities that makes a person as mature." In the end, Marcus Aurelius said, "Maturity is not a gift granted with age, but a lifelong pursuit that demands intentional effort." Marcus Aurelius said, "It is the result of choosing thoughtfulness over and over in action, and responsibility over avoidance." Marcus Aurelius said, "Each day presents with opportunities to cultivate the qualities that define true maturity, to reflect, to act with purpose." Marcus Aurelius said, "And to be accountable for the lives we create." Every challenge of life, let us embrace them as chances to grow, learn, Marcus Aurelius said, and refine ourselves. For it is through the disgrace of these principles that we transform, not just as individuals, Aurelius said, but as members of a greater community, shaping a variety, wisdom, and enduring strength.